Hey, this is Dave from Walk in the Parks, and we had the opportunity to stay at the Treehouse Villas at Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa this past weekend, and we wanted to give you a little walkthrough of our room. As you can see, we've entered the main space with some awesome, almost floor-to-ceiling windows. I think that's one of the coolest things I noticed right away is just the stunning views you get from every corner of this villa. We're panning around here so you can get a sense of the dining room, the family room, and the kitchen. We'll be back there in a minute. We're turning around to the back where we will see the master bedroom. Again, those windows providing awesome light and views from every space. I believe it's a queen bed. You see the TV over on the far wall. Heading back into the master bathroom. You see we have a shower and bathtub. Again, we're going to touch on this, but the detailing in these villas is just amazing. You can see just the tree imprints and leaves. As we pass back through the master bedroom, another view from this angle. Also love the wood beams on top of the ceiling, a nice touch there. We'll be heading back into the main room with the dining room, family room, and kitchen combined. Kitchen is a little bit small, but still enough room to do the cooking that you're going to want to do. Heading to one of the other two bedrooms. For your kids, you have double bunk beds. Again, beautiful light coming in from those windows. We're gonna head around to that last bedroom. Not before we take one more view of that open main room. We're just loving the open space in this villa. One last room. The rooms are a little bit on the tiny side, but I think they provide you enough space. Also, one more thing I want to mention is the art. Again, the detailing in this room is pretty cool. We'll get to that later. And lastly, we have the second full bath. Some art on the walls. More of that nature feel. And then one more pan around before we head back out to that main room. We wanted to also provide you with some kind of things we liked versus things that we didn't like, or some pros and cons as we wrap up our walkthrough tour of the Treehouse Villa. We stayed for 2 nights, and that was enough to get a pretty good sense of what it'd be like to stay there probably for 5 days, 7 days, a whole week. But what an amazing treehouse villa. Very cool. Some of the pros that we enjoyed staying there, one was the quiet atmosphere. So I remember waking up one night and just hearing nothing. So for better or for worse, you're definitely getting that forest feel of it being very quiet. The room detailing, we touched on this a couple times as we went through the tour. Just the handles in the kitchen are tree roots, and most of the lamps are made to look like trees. So just beautiful little touches from Disney. Another pro would be the idea that you're in a standalone treehouse. So most DVC where you're staying there, or any hotel, you're going to have people walking through hallways and just more people around you. But this is a standalone villa, so that adds to that quiet atmosphere that you get, which is pretty cool. And last, we put wildlife under a pro. And con, actually. We saw a bunch of frogs, some toads. You're going to have lizards. So if you're into that, this would be a great place to kind of see some of that Florida wildlife, and hopefully not anything like a snake or an alligator. On to the cons list, we kept wildlife on there because if you don't like any of the things I just mentioned, then you probably don't want to stay at the Treehouse Villa. You know, you're in a forest and a swamp, so that comes with a lot of wildlife. The parking and roadway situation is interesting. There's only a few spots. We never had trouble finding a spot right outside our villa, but the roads are extremely tight. So when a bus comes through, there's just no extra way to walk on either side. So just be aware if you have a bigger vehicle that it could be tough to park. It's not impossible, but it's tight. And lastly, this was an interesting point that we ran into. There's no pedestrian walkway access to Disney Springs, and this could just be at the time that we are recording this video with COVID-19 going on. But when we walked all the way down to the end of the Treehouse Villas and tried to walk to Disney Springs, there was a big sign that said there was no access. So that's just something to be aware of if you are staying around this time, that you can't walk there at this time. But all in all, we will say we had a fantastic time. The room was beautiful. We wish we could have stayed more days, but staying there and getting that treehouse feel and the windows and just the beautiful views that you get, it was truly a great and amazing experience. Highly recommended. Thanks for joining us on this treehouse walkthrough tour. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button below. And if you really loved the video, make sure you hit subscribe. We'll see you next time.